Today on Yorkshireman Models we're going to build this figure. I'm going to show you how I do it as quick as I possibly can build and paint figures, because I do prefer building the aircraft, so figures to me are something that I want to get done quickly. So I'll show you how I've learnt over years how I can get my figures done quick and still look really well. I'll be using my little portable airbrush so I can get my base paints down, especially the primers. But when I'm painting the uniforms and that, I'll be showing you how I use a glaze medium, which makes a hell of a lot easier, I think, and Vallejo paints themselves, because Vallejo ones go really well with this glaze medium. I mean, it is Vallejo anyway. Brushes, if you're going to also be building, I do recommend having some nice fine pointed brushes, some to put big amounts down, and if you can get some really fine ones. I mean, you can just see there how fine you can get some brushes to be. So we'll get cracked on with building the figure. I mean, 3 parts. It's not going to take long. And then we'll show you how we paint her. I cut my parts off of the sprue, and I always do it, try and remember to anyway, do it slightly away from the actual piece that I want. And that way I cut the little nubs off after like that. I find there's less chance of damaging the part that you want if you do it like that. And now I'm getting rid of what's the seam lines. I'll scrape them back. I've got a tool here that I use sometimes. It's quite recent I've bought this one, but to scrape them back, and you can do this with just your knife. Always sand them off, smooth them out so they look nice. And then they're ready for just gluing together. I mean, there's only 3 parts, so a little bit of Tamiya extra thin just to get your initial grip. Have to be quick, which I'm not doing very quick, but yeah. Get the part you want into place like so. When you're happy with it, I'll just run then a little bit more Tamiya extra thin around the seam just to make sure it holds on there. Just show you, I like to glue my figures onto, I've got an old cork here with a cocktail stick half pushed in and then cut off so it makes a flat, and I'll just glue it on like that. The reason I do that is so I can paint easier. I can hold it in my hand and I can brush paint without worrying about smudging my actual figure and that. I just use a bit of super glue. It's broke off, it's dried up a bit, but still comes out a bit. It's nearly empty, to be honest, this one. Put a dab on there, and then you just have to hold your figure like that for long enough for it to dry. I'm not going to make you sit here and wait. We'll come back to it in a second when it's finally dried. There you go, it's on now. So he's ready now for painting. I'll put that back on. Right, we're ready now to start and get it painted. Now you've got a choice here. You can either use a straight up, normal, flat black, or any kind of black really. So you're going to coat it all in that. Personally, I prefer to use a proper primer. You've got your normal acrylic primers like these. I've also got the one shot, but I wouldn't use grey. I have somewhere got the black, but a black one, it really needs to be black, but you've got one shot in it. It's quite a good one, that. But my preferred is Mr. Surfacer, but any primer will do fine, and so will this, because all we're doing at the minute is making this black. That's all we need to do. I've brush painted. This one has been fine, and the Mr. Surfacer, I've never had a problem with brush painting. I've never tried one shot brush painting. If you can leave a comment if you've tried it and you find it okay, and then that way people will see whether it is a good one to brush paint or not. I do find Tamiya ones are a nightmare to brush paint, especially straight front bottle. But if you've got some retarder, You can add that to it and it'll brush paint fine. But if you're really just looking at brush painting, some Vallejo black model colour one brush paint's absolutely lovely, and all you need is water just to thin it. For the other ones, I personally use Mr. Colour Leveling Thinner 400. It's my favourite thinner and it works for near. I don't know if I've used it for that, I can't say. But this one, that one definitely is this. And I've got an actual thinner that's the Vallejo one that's specifically for this. So, but yeah, I'll be using that with a bit of Mr. Colour Leveling Thinner. So we'll get it painted up. I've got his black on, she's all dry, so she's ready now for some to create shadows, so the folds in the uniform, stuff like that. This also helps pick out more detail so you can see where you need to be painting certain things. But we'll get on. It's just white painting here. It's Tamiya flat white, only a few drops and you don't need much. But from the top down, as you can see, we're going to start and spray like that to create light areas. And going down his uniform like so, and on the back again. Just to create the effect as if the light's coming down on him as it naturally does. And we're running out like it sounds. Getting very spitty now. Near it. Right. There you go. There's a lot more detail pops through now. You can see, especially on the front at uniform. Yeah, very nice. This has also highlighted to me that the joint there, which is not very good, needs a little tiny bit of filler in. So we'll do that next once this is dried. Right, I'm going to put a little bit of filler, putty as it's called, in. This is my favourite for doing out like this because of it's got a really fine nozzle and it all wipes away with just a little bit of water. So you can see there it's already wanted to squeeze out a little tiny bit. I never actually cut this nozzle down really, I just left it as small as I could like that. Oh, squeezing out big time. Right then, get it going before it ends up everywhere. And I just let it run around like that. A little bit where it's needed. But like I say, you'll see the best thing about this in a second. Just a little tap there. That's it on there. Tiny amounts, not much. Then again, there are only 3 parts to fit, so get that closed back up. I've had this one, got to be about 6-8 months. So now we need a little bit of water, which I'll keep in these little bottles so they're a bit handy. And you just, to me, I just get a brush, or in fact I'll do it with cotton bud first because I find that a bit easier actually. Just get one here. All you have to do is, before it starts to dry too much, that's that. Take it that way a bit, because it's a little bit, yep, and that. That's got most of it off there, what you don't want. You just want to smooth out anywhere you might have got a bit what you don't really want there. That's it, I think. That just fills those little joints in there so you don't really see them. If the big joints, you have to go back and do it again because it'll dry and it will shrink a little bit, and you'll see it if you don't go back and redo it. But yeah, you can see now it's dried. Lots of lovely little detail there that's going to pop out hopefully when we start and get some base paint down. Right, we're starting to paint his uniform now. The main bit, and they're not the right colours, they're just what I've got, and I'm going to make it up as I go along. Probably not the greatest way, but hey, that's what I'm going to do. So I've got some olive green. I'm going to paint most of his uniform in that, but I'll be toning it down with some glazed medium, and that'll make it so that you'll see that the lighter areas are more prominent. I've also got some green yellow Vallejo, and I've also got a bit of olive green. I mean, it shows you the difference in colour. I'll show you them both for you. Both olive green. Or should I set that out? That's probably the easiest. You can see they're completely different. But I'm going to use them to put a bit of variance in it. Paint his pockets, stuff like that, belts and stuff like that, slightly different colour. So we'll get cracked on, and we'll start off with the olive green here. I'm mixing here about 2 drops of paint, and I'll put in about 1 drop of glazed medium. Been a bit picky how I'm doing that there actually, but it's about 2 drops. And you'll see just the 1 drop of glazed medium there. Just mix it up with brush. Get it so it's, you know, mixed in so it's all nice, and it does make it a bit, I would have said, runnier, which is, it's alright in my thing. I do think it's a little bit too thick still, that, so I'll stick another 1 drop in. Now what I'll do is I'll just paint all the uniform like this, as you can see. And straight away you can see there the outer edges, or whatever you want to call it, top parts that folds in his uniform, are not holding as much paint as what the inner bits is, because it's a very runny paint now compared to before. Saying that though, Vallejo paint I think's quite thick no matter what. You can see all uniform is painted up just about there. Just the usual boots, head, his hands and stuff like that. They're all going to be different colours. So now I'm putting on a different colour, slightly lighter colour over the pockets and stuff like that, just to try and highlight them out a bit. Painting the belts and the straps and stuff like that on his uniform now. I'm just using like a bit of a tan colour, that's all, something like that it is. I just pick out my drawer where I think looks about right and just use that. I just go around just doing parts like that, it's the easiest way. You can see I'm using the smaller brushes for that and all, because you need to. Painting similar colour inside his helmet. It's just a slightly different one. I like to, if I can, mix them up a bit, my colours, just gives a bit of variance. Boots, black, they nearly always are anyway, so painting them black. I'll do the same with gloves as well. Now for the face, I've just got a normal flesh colour. It's from Vallejo, it's just a flesh. It's the basic one. It helps him having glasses in a way, because I don't have to paint eyes. I'm not very good with eyes. I don't think anybody is really, unless it's a big figure. I mean, these are 148, which is even worse than the 135 for painting eyes. I always try and do face before I do hair and stuff like that. And now I'm using like a rose flesh, which is more of a darker flesh colour. And I just go in areas and pick out where, like, down side of noses, around chin, underneath it, that's the kind of in ears, and you're just doing it to try to make it look a bit more realistic. So flat red on helmet. I'm going to put some glaze over that at the end so it looks nice and shiny, metallic-y as you'd say, just to make it a bit different. But I mean I normally paint my helmets white because I think they stand out nice when they're white, but I just something a bit different. The glasses black. Again, I'll put a little bit of glaze over where the glass would, well, on it, so that it reflects a little bit, makes it look a bit more realistic, but I'll do that. His hair, I'm doing brown, but what I will do is I'll try and highlight it up a bit by putting a lighter colour and dry brush it, which I'll show you in a second. I've already dried off the brush as much as I can. I put a bit of, you can see, light colour on it, and it just makes it look like highlights, whatever you want to call it, in his hair. Maybe not, but same with gloves. I've got a grey there, you can see. Just go over it, brings out the detail for the fingers and stuff like that, and I'll do a bit on boot and all, should help. Just brings out that little bit more detail on them, make them look nicer. And this is that glaze I said I'd put over the actual helmet and that. It's just Winsor Newton glaze, not the flat one, it's the gloss one. And that's the result you get when you use the methods I've just shown you. I'm not saying it's the most perfect or anything like that, but I find it easy. And that's the thing that I want when I'm painting figures, because I'm not a main figure painter. That's not what I do with a hobby. I build kits and I paint aircraft and tanks and stuff like that. That's what I really love. But they do need figures sometimes, and I'll show you why, because how much they enhance the vehicle or the model or the diorama you're doing. But you can see, very simple, you can get nice results. Try and hide it a bit from the glare. I think it's half decent, and sometimes that's all you're wanting. But as you can see, that figure there is from this kit. You got 3, and you can see there are figures inside. Suddenly bring it all detail wise to the forefront, as you'd say. It makes it look more to proper scale. Anyway, if this video has helped you, be grateful if you'd give me a like. But even more, if you want to see more videos like this, tutorial showing you how to build or paint or do whatever it is in scale modelling, subscribe to my channel. I'm always putting these kind of videos up, and it's the same for just building aircraft, doing reviews, everything. I'm always doing a lot of them. So subscribe, be grateful if you do. You'll get the chance to watch them as soon as they come up then, especially if you click that bell button as well. So thanks a lot, catch you all later.